I'm putting every MLB team against each other in an Imperialism-style battle royale, and there can only be one winner at the end of the video. I'm sure by this point, everybody has seen an Imperialism video somewhere on YouTube, but if you haven't, this wheel's gonna decide a team, and this arrow is gonna choose a direction to attack. This was one of my favorite videos to make during the MLB The Show 23 cycle, and to start this one off, the defending champs are claiming the state of Oklahoma. Since there's only 30 teams in Major League Baseball, it may be a while before we see our first game, but this could be the first one because the Rays are sandwiched between two teams, but the arrow landed west, so we're avoiding a matchup between two playoff teams. Getting more land in this type of challenge is definitely a blessing and a curse, because while you're expanding your territory, you're also a bigger target, and we're finally getting our first game of the video between the Pirates and the Mets. Even though these two teams are near each other, I don't think I've ever seen this matchup, but I think that having Kodai Senga on the mound is going to be a huge advantage for New York, as that's a nice play at second base to retire the side. It's so essential to have an elite ace pitcher in a challenge like this, and so far, Mitch Keller is not cutting it, so I think Pittsburgh's definitely the underdog in this one, but there's an easy double play to record 2 outs, so the bases are once again cleared for their 3-hitter Brandon Nimmo, who's going to give this one a ride deep into right center field. This is a gapper that's going to go all the way to the fence for a home run. There is the first run of this round of MLB Imperialism, but I think it's going to be a little tougher for Pittsburgh to take advantage of Senga's nasty forkball, as they got a hold of one there, but it's not going to drop in the outfield. There's still plenty of time in this one, but Rowdy just turned on this one, sending it into right field. We could see a tie game, and Rowdy Tellez is going to deliver. Senga finally gave them a pitch to hit, and now he's getting carried away, so this is a real opportunity to rally as this one gets away from Alvarez, base taking off, and that is a runner in scoring position. They're going to need an answer from veteran Andrew McCutchen, and on the 8th pitch of the at-bat, he's going to drive in the go-ahead run. Baseball is definitely a game of momentum, as everything's changed in one inning. So now the Mets are playing from behind, and Starling Marte is going to bloop this one into left field. This gets down for a single. This is definitely an encouraging start to the inning, as Jeff McNeil's going to sneak one through, and it's all up to Francisco Lindor to deliver, and he's going to do exactly that on a 2 RBI single. New York once again has the lead, and there's 2 on for Alvarez, who's faced with a full count, and he gets one right down the middle that he's going to send right to the left fielder. This has been the most exciting possible start to this MLB Imperialism video, and I'm just looking forward to seeing who pulls ahead, since up to this point, neither side has had a bigger lead than 1 run, and there's another double play. Rowdy Tellez got things started for Pittsburgh, and he's going to get it going once again with another no-doubter to tie this game. This is a classic scrawny slugger Imperialism matchup right now, and if you've watched my other tournament videos, you know that the most random players always deliver. G1 Bay, that is another home run this inning. This is already Pittsburgh's second multi-run inning of the game, and they may not be done because Hayes is launching this one into the gap, except it's going to bounce off the wall and hold him at first base. With only 1 out, that being a single instead of a double could really cost Pittsburgh, but Andrew McCutchen's got that covered, going yard to send him home either way, and that is the 3rd home run of the inning. Kodai Senga has completely collapsed in the top of the 5th inning, but the Mets did not panic, immediately getting back into this one, and they're trailing by 1 run, but here comes Pete Alonso dribbling this one through the infield to tie the game up once again. The rest of this video is going to be insane if we keep seeing games like this. Michael A. Taylor into center field, where Taylor cannot get to that. Big Rowdy with his 4-speed coming around, trying to score, and he's going to do exactly that. They definitely got him an oxygen tank after sprinting from first base, but then Francisco Alvarez tied the game with a solo shot, so this one's not over. So all signs were showing that this one would come down to the wire, and that has certainly been the case as we're in the 9th, where the heart of New York's lineup has a chance for a walk-off, but Nimmo's going to hit this one right to center field. It's all going to come down to Pete Alonso, who you definitely want in these situations. There's a single to keep it alive, which brings up Francisco Lindor, who hit this one well, but right to the outfielder. We're going to extra innings. The very first game of this video has absolutely exceeded my expectations, and Andrew McCutchen hit the sacrifice fly into right field to advance the runner to third base. So they need O'Neal Cruz to clutch up, but that was a beautiful slider from McGill. Since the Pirates were the attacking team, they're playing at Citi Field, and the Mets could walk this one off, but this one's going foul, and this game would be over if he was a few inches to the left, but instead he's going to walk. So there's no outs for the bottom of the Mets lineup, but they need to deliver, and Mauricio almost hits into a double play, but it's another error to allow him to get aboard. That can make all the difference, because now there's only 1 out, and they could get a sacrifice fly, but Mauricio takes off and is thrown out. Pittsburgh is so lucky to still be alive in this one, as Sawinski was late on this one. It's going the other way, but he does have 95 power, and that's going to help him out. He goes deep for a go-ahead 2-run shot. They would also score another run after that, so after being in position to win this game, New York is suddenly down by 3 runs, but at least Beatty's going to go the other way to score another. There is very little margin for error for the Mets at this point, because they need 2 runs, but Marte is going to deliver. As there's only 1 out with runners at the corners, Nimmo's going to drive 1 in. This brings up Pete Alonso, who is unable to check swing with 2 strikes, and that means this one's in Francisco Lindor's hands, but unfortunately, he is already behind in this count, so he has to be very careful, and there's ball 3, so the game could come down to this very pitch, and it's a beautiful curveball. The Pirates survive, and the Mets are eliminated. What an insane game to start MLB Imperialism, and remember, this is only the beginning. The wheel almost lands on the Pirates again, but instead, it's going to be St. Louis Lewis, who's attacking north, and only one spin later, we're already seeing another matchup. This one's for the state of Missouri, and I'm honestly curious how this is gonna go because the Royals are much better than they were last year. But after that Goldschmidt double, I'm wondering if they have a good enough ace to compete in this tournament. Bobby Witt Jr. made an amazing play. That secured out number 2, so it's all up to Nolan Arenado. Going the other way, this one's gonna drop, and Goldschmidt's gonna score the first run. These two teams may be in different conferences, but in my Imperialism videos, they're absolutely in-state rivals, and Bobby Witt Jr. secures an extra base hit of his own, but he's gonna stretch this one into a triple. However, there's 2 outs, so they really need Salvador Perez to score him, and he's gonna do exactly that, driving this one deep, and rather than just getting an RBI, this is a go-ahead dinger. Each team was able to deliver a run with 2 outs, but the Royals' home run changes everything, because St. Louis went from having the lead to trailing by 1 run, and Mason Wynn just gave this one a drive, but it is not deep enough. They came just feet away from retaking this lead over Kansas City, who's now looking to rally, so they really need Sonny Gray to get it together, and this is good contact the other way, but it's not going to get down. They're out of the inning. The Cardinals are back to the top of their lineup, looking for a run, and Goldschmidt collects his second hit, but while we all know that he can mash lefties, the rest of the lineup is not nearly as good, so this could be interesting. And thankfully, Arenado got runners at the corners for Contreras, who's going to launch a no-doubter off of Raggins, and St. Louis has gone ahead by 2 runs with a massive 3-run bomb. That is Imperialism at its absolute finest, as we have another lead change, and we can't count out the Royals, who have enough speed in their lineup to stretch this into a double. This is one of the fastest teams in the league, and that could make the difference, except Hampson was just caught stealing, and that's unfortunate timing because this is another scoreless inning. A few more runs from the Cardinals could bury the Royals, but they just loaded the bases, and Bobby Witt Jr.'s on deck, but they're not going to need him because Blanco just scored 2 runs by dribbling this up the middle to tie it. There's runners at the corners with 2 away and a chance to take the lead, but Salvi Perez grounded out, so they couldn't take the lead, but what a rally from Kansas City, as that one inning seemed to completely change the momentum in this game, and here's a great play from second base. However, they intentionally walked Bobby Witt Jr., which was a smart decision because Salvi hit into a double play. This one has definitely calmed down after an electric start, and we could see extra innings again, and if you've watched this channel for a while, you know that I love a good extra innings game, so I would definitely not complain about 2 in a row to start my first Imperialism video of MLB 24. However, it looks like the Royals are trying to avoid extras at all costs with 2 aboard, and right now there's only 1 away for Adam Frazier, who strikes out. That should make things a little more interesting, but this one's turned on and pulled into right field where Nootbaar's not going to be able to get it, and there's no doubt this is going to become a 2-run triple to give the Royals the lead. That's the breakthrough we've been waiting for either side, and it came from Kansas City, so this is the last chance for the Cardinals, and Gorman just popped up an absolute meatball. He timed that one perfectly, so it should have been a game-tying blast to the parking lot, but instead the Royals are going to hang on. Regardless though, that was another great game, and there's plenty of room for much more excitement, and the wheel lands on the Red Sox, who are going to claim more land. Comment below who you think is going to win this Imperialism, because as you saw in those first 2 games, anything can happen, and the Mariners are hiding in the corner, but they expand into Oregon. After 2 games in a row, we're seeing more land getting taken over, as the magic wheel lands on the Rockies for the first time, but unfortunately, they're not going to get so lucky. Only a sliver of their land was touching, but of course, Colorado has to go up against the National League champs, but we've already seen some upsets today, so maybe they can surprise them, but McMahon did not get enough on that one. It definitely doesn't help that Cal Quantrill is probably the lowest rated ace in this challenge, so Arizona's in a prime opportunity to get off to a great start, and Ketel Marte just launched a no-doubter. I feel so bad for Colorado in this challenge because they're right by Texas and Arizona. What a great play in the outfield. What I was saying is they're definitely going to have an uphill battle in this one, especially because Peterson just launched the 3rd run of the first inning. I was hoping they could show us something in the 2nd inning, but 3 pop-ups was not very encouraging, so they still only have 1 hit against Zach Gallen, but Brendan Rodgers just launched this one deep into the left center gap, and that is their first run of the game. It is way too early to count them out, especially because Nolan Jones just went yard. That is back-to-back home runs for the Rockies. Just like that, the Colorado Rockies have gotten themselves back into this game, and Diaz just got aboard with 1 away, and obviously this video is unbiased, but I'd love to see a comeback, and that error is going to get 2 on. That should have been a double play to end the inning, but instead they load the bases on another single, so this rally seems alive and well, and what a play from Ketel Marte. He's going to be able to turn 2 and get them out of the inning. That would have tied the game if it got through, but Arizona's offense just woke up, so after that they pulled away from Colorado, and my hope for a Rockies underdog story just died. Maybe another bad team can avenge them though, as the wheel is landed on a playoff team in the Phillies, and they're going to be attacking the Pirates' expanded land. Pittsburgh's offense really shocked me in the first game of this video, and they're off to another great start because Ke'Bryan Hayes just blasted a leadoff home run. What a start to this game, especially because Zach Wheeler is one of the best pitchers in baseball, but Kyle Schwarber just answered with a leadoff bomb of his own. That makes it identical starts for each one of these lineups, and now Trey Turner's aboard, so it's going to take a lot more than that for Pittsburgh to hold off this in-state invasion, but at least it's still tied. Unfortunately though, it looks like Wheeler brushed off that home run, and that's really not good because if he locks in, he could single-handedly win the Phillies this game. On the other other hand though, Mitch Keller was good last game and got the win, but he definitely needed some run support to get there. Pittsburgh's offense needs to find some momentum if they're gonna win this game against Philadelphia, and right on cue, there's an RBI. I also need to take back what I said about Mitch Keller, but never mind, not anymore. Nick Castellanos goes yard. I was gonna say that he's played well against a playoff level lineup, but he's starting to fall apart, so hopefully for Pittsburgh, he can put it back together, and here's a deep drive to center field, going all the way back to the wall. Does it have the distance? It does not. It is once again tied up in the 5th inning, where Tellez got aboard with a single, so maybe Pittsburgh can create a rally of their own. That one was left right up in the zone, and Michael Taylor is going to take advantage with a deep drive into left center. This one's gone back and forth all game long, but maybe the Pirates can take advantage. Once again, Brian Reynolds goes and hits this one off the wall, so runners are at 2 and 3, except Andrew McCutchen's going to test the throw coming in, and he's going to be thrown out. That was a terrible time for a bad CPU base running decision, but here's a walk, and Zach Wheeler is finally out of the game, so Sawinski's going to answer with a deep drive to center field, going all the way back. Does it have the distance? It does, for a go-ahead 3-run shot. The Pittsburgh Pirates are on pace to upset a playoff team that has been to the NLCS game 2 times in a row, but Bryce Harper just made this a little bit more interesting. It would be really nice for them if the rest of their lineup could step up, and at least Bryson Stott got a single, but there's still 2 outs, so these singles up the middle might not be getting them anywhere. They need Brandon Marsh to deliver here, and thankfully another single is going to score a run, so at least it's a 1-run game. Mitch Keller finally got pulled from this game, but honestly a 4-run performance against the Phillies is not that bad, and in the very next inning, the Pirates are going to erase any work that the Phillies did last inning by scoring another run. In a shocking upset, the Pittsburgh Pirates are still alive after 2 games, and they have knocked out one of the best teams in this tournament. So far, the Wheel of Imperialism has been very good to us, because nearly every matchup has been great so far, and the Tigers narrowly avoid playing a game. I think we could see a lot more games very soon, especially with the wheel landing on the Dodgers, and there's 5 teams in California, but we're about to see one go down. It's basically just Mike Trout against this entire super team, and Betts sent the first pitch out of the yard. The battle for LA is not off to a great start for the Angels, and Will Smith just hit this one hard to left field, going all the way back to the wall, and it's just barely gonna stay in the yard. He was just a foot away from the second dinger of the first inning, but have no fear, Max Muncy is here and delivers a deep shot. That is 2 swings and 2 runs for the Dodgers, so while we definitely can't count out the Angels yet, this is definitely a terrible start. Maybe Mike Trout can save the day, but he's gonna need more than singles if he's gonna do that, because even the bottom of this Dodgers lineup can do damage, as Chris Taylor's lifting this one the other way, and that has enough distance for another dinger. I still don't understand why the Angels decided to not trade Ohtani at the deadline last year, because at least they could have gotten some prospects and started a rebuild, but now they're fielding one of baseball's worst teams and likely don't have a chance in this Imperialism. If you've watched any of my previous Imperialism videos, then you know that Shohei Ohtani can single-handedly win games for this team, and unfortunately for the Angels, that's going to be the difference in this one, as they got absolutely embarrassed in the battle for LA and became the first elimination from California. Remember to drop a like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video so far, because I post 2 a week, but this is definitely one of my favorites to make in the game cycle, and now the Cincinnati Reds are going to expand their territory. We've already eliminated 5 teams, which may not seem like much, but the early stages of this video are so important in determining the winner, as the Astros narrowly escape an ALCS rematch. This could get interesting though, because we're going back to the Astros, and there's a 50-50 chance they play Texas, but once again, they are going to avoid it. I'm very eager to see who's going to play the next game, but finally the Tigers end that by invading Canada. This is a very bold move for Detroit, because while Toronto has the largest territory on the map, they're a playoff team, and even if they win this game, they're vulnerable to attack for other good teams up north. However, so far this looks like a genius decision, because Spencer Torkelson just launched an RBI triple, so it's 1-0, and with only 1 out, this ground out's going to score another run. I would honestly not bet against Detroit for the rest of this game, because Tariq Skubal is very good, so they can win this game with some more run support, but Vlad Jr. is definitely going to be a factor in this one. Just like that, in one swing, things are looking a lot less certain for Detroit, and they're going to find themselves in a lot of trouble if this Blue Jay offense wakes up. There's 2 on with 2 outs for Alejandro Kirk, who's going to get a good piece of this one, but unfortunately that's going to end the inning. This Detroit offense definitely doesn't have the same firepower as Toronto's, but they're still getting on base. And here's another single, this time from Colt Keith to put runners at 1 and 2, except Carpenter's going to test the throw, and that's a bad idea. The terrible CPU base running logic in this game strikes again, as that should have been Detroit's first run since the first inning, but instead they have to rely on Javi Baez with runners at the corners, and he's going to turn on this one and give this a good ride into left field for a 3-run bomb. What an answer. I can't believe he just hit a nuke with 2 outs in the inning, and this 4-run lead should be more than enough for Skubal to work with. Another playoff team has gone down early on in this video, but this won't be an easy game for Detroit because they have the largest territory on the map. I'm definitely surprised because Toronto usually goes pretty far in these videos, and once again, the Astros and the Rangers avoid avoid confrontation. Those two teams usually face off pretty early on, but for some reason the Magic Arrow's not pushing them together, and now Seattle's taking over their second stage. This is on pace to be the most full Imperialism map I've ever had, but we might finally get another game with the Guardians up, but apparently not, because Southeast was the one direction with open land. There are 16 open states left, and maybe the Atlanta Braves will finally play, but instead they're gonna take over Tennessee. Unfortunately though, there's no escape for the Padres, because they're almost completely landlocked, and they've got National League powers on both sides. The Padres only hold a sliver of California, so it makes sense they're coming after Arizona's 3 states, and going into this tournament, the Padres knew they'd have a tough task being surrounded by the Dodgers and the D-backs, but so far in this one, it looks like they're up for the challenge, since they have 2 aboard, but a strikeout's gonna end the inning. Meanwhile, the Diamondbacks offense is coming off a huge performance against Colorado, and Gabriel Moreno's starting them strong in this one with a blast to left field. Is it gonna stay fair? It does. Just barely staying inside the foul pole. So the Diamondbacks have taken the early lead in this one, but do not count out the San Diego offense. Bogarts launched a double to get into scoring position, and here's an opposite field shot from Cronenworth going all the way back to the wall, and I think it's gonna be caught. Then unfortunately for them, Arizona scored another run, so San Diego's offense really needs a rally, but right now it's looking unlikely. At least Joe Musgrove has only given up 2 runs up to this point, so they definitely still have a chance in this one, but they definitely need to get something going because they only have 3 hits up to this point, and thankfully this one's not going to be played. This is the best chance they've had to score a run all game long because there's 2 on with 1 out, and Bogarts smoked this one through the infield for his second hit, but it's not going to be able to score a run. Thankfully though, the bases are loaded for Tatis, but he made poor contact on a home run pitch before striking out. Arizona's 2 home runs on 2 hits has made all the difference and make that 3 and the second for Gurriel on the day. I guess you can't strand any runners on base if you only hit home runs, and San Diego's lack of power today led to their elimination. Arizona held off another invasion to expand into California, but for the first time today, the wheel landed on Milwaukee, and they're gonna invade the biggest territory on the map. I feel bad for the Tigers, who are facing another playoff team, and even though they were very impressive against Toronto, they're still the underdogs, but maybe Tariq Skubal can carry them to another victory, and that's a wild pitch that's gonna get a runner in scoring position. A first inning RBI would not be a good start for Detroit, but thankfully Adames grounded out, and while the Tigers may have a higher overall ace, Freddie Peralta is still pretty good. It looks like we have another close game on our hands, and there's been a lot of them in this video so far, as this one's driven to left field, but it's not going to be deep enough. Regardless, that was some of the best contact we've seen so far, and Contreras is the only player who's reached base in this game. That was hit number 2 for him, so he's probably just hoping that his team can actually score him, but once again, no one is making good contact. This has been a true pitcher's duel, and rookie center fielder Parker Meadows finally got the Tigers' first hit of the day, so he's in scoring position for the top of this order, but that's another ground out. It is impossible to know when the first run of this game is going to come, but each pitcher's running out of stamina, so maybe we're going to see more runs as the game progresses, and finally Bryce Terang delivers the Brewers' first extra base hit. They have out-hit the Tigers today by 3-1 and make it 4-1. Christian Yelich finally scores this game's first run. Tariq Skubal is clearly starting to lose it, and thankfully Christian Yelich scored a base because that's going to allow him to score from second. That was William Contreras' 3rd single of the game, and he's finally going to cross home plate. Willy Adames with a shot into left field. It is gone. A 4-run deficit against Milwaukee is a lot for this offense to come back from, and this could be their last chance, but Kerry Carpenter is going to make this a bit easier with a 2-run blast to right field. That was exactly what they needed to make this a 2-run game, so it's certainly not over yet, especially after another walk, so it's very clear that Peralta's low energy is starting to affect him, as Keith's going to lift this one into left center, going all the way back to the wall, and that's going to be an automatic double. Milwaukee is finally into their bullpen, and they're able to get the second out of the inning, so suddenly the Tigers are in danger of straining 2 runners in scoring position, but this one's lifted into left field. Jake Rogers going all the way back where it's gonna be caught at the wall. The Tigers would be winning this game if that was hit even a foot further, so it's very unfortunate, and that is how the Tigers go down. I cannot believe how close the Tigers were to beating 2 playoff teams, but no matter what, we got to see another great game, as I think this is the first time the wheel has landed on the Cubs, and it looks like we're getting the battle for Chicago. One of the most fun things about Imperialism is that even though these teams are in different conferences, they're rivals here, and that's because the wheel makes it very likely for this matchup to happen, and Dansby Swanson went yard to start this game strong. The Cubs are definitely the favorite in this one, especially if Christopher Morel's gonna launch the second dinger of the inning. Unfortunately, the White Sox are the worst team in all of MLB The Show, and there was no coming back after the Cubs put together an 11-run inning. That was the biggest blowout we've seen in this entire video, but it very likely won't be our last, with many bad teams still on the board, as the Pittsburgh Pirates may be playing their 3rd game of the video, and they're gonna be matched up against the Cleveland Guardians. These teams literally won the same number of games last season, so anything could happen in this one, but at least up to this point, the Pirates have emerged as the biggest dark horse team in this entire video, and I thought that one was gonna drop. This is the first game we've seen Cleveland play, and they are off to an amazing start with a no-doubt shot to right field. held, except it's going to drift foul at the last second. A first inning home run from Cleveland would have made a huge statement to start this game, but instead both teams are hitless, and we're going to see how big of an impact that makes as O'Neal Cruz, right on cue, is going deep to right field, and this drive's going to give Pittsburgh the lead. If you remember, the Guardians did expand their territory earlier in this video, so the winner of this game is going to get a lot of land, and right now the Pirates are looking to extend their lead. Michael A. Taylor goes up the middle with this one, and a single is going to do exactly that. The Guardians are down 2 runs early on, but they can't panic because Mitch Keller has given up some runs throughout this video, so there's still plenty of time to turn this one around, but this double play is certainly not going to help. The Guardian offense has been very slow to start out, while the Pirates have picked up right where they left off, except I don't think this one's going to stay fair. That is a huge sigh of relief for any Cleveland fans, and there's still 2 on, but at least Cruz strikes out, so now they just have to hope that Sawinski doesn't get a hold of this one and he pops it up. It is so important that the Guardians didn't allow a run there, but their offense needs to come up with more than 2 singles if they want to win this one. Unfortunately for them, Pittsburgh extended their lead, so they're well on their way to their 3rd victory of the video, and they didn't give Cleveland a single chance to come back. I was definitely expecting a much closer game than that, but now there's only 20 teams left standing, and we just landed on a new face in the San Francisco Giants, but since they're facing the Dodgers, this may be a quick exit. Every time I do this, different teams last way longer than others just because of the luck of the wheel, but obviously they have to go at some point, and it really sucks the Giants have to play the Dodgers. However, if you watched my MLB March Madness video, you know this team is full of surprises, and they just got runners at the corners, so maybe they could strike early with the run off of Ohtani, but they're down to their last out, and the bases are now loaded. Can Lamont Wade Jr. be the hero in this one? That was a good pitch to hit, but he popped it up, and that was a missed opportunity. The key matchup of this game is going to be Blake Snell versus this Dodgers offense, and so far, advantage Dodgers. That is a first pitch home run. It only took 1 swing for Mookie Betts to do more than the entire Giants offense last inning, so obviously things are not off to a good start for San Francisco, but Matt Chapman just gave them some new hope with a double, so now they're in prime position to tie this game, and I thought that would go further than it did. At least the Giants offense has shown that they can hit against Ohtani, but they need to score the runners that do get on base if they want a chance to hang with the Dodgers. Soler extended the inning, but Ohtani collected another strikeout, and it's gotta be frustrating that Blake Snell's only hit given up was the Mookie Betts home run, and now a Gavin Lux stinger is gonna make it 2-0. That's 2 hits for 2 home runs, but make it 3 for 3 as Mookie Betts collects his 2nd dinger of the game, and this one's getting out of hand. This game would be so different if the Giants hadn't left the bases loaded, and now they have 2 on again, but with 2 outs, it looks like history is gonna once again repeat itself. It is still 3-0 in the top of the 6th inning, and Blake Snell has done more than enough against this lineup, so thankfully they're gonna get going with a double, but we still have to ask if this offense is capable of scoring anyone in scoring position, and Wade Jr. is gonna make it a bit easier. Blake Sable's up with runners at the corners, and finally they're able to score their first run of the game. Ohtani has been pulled from the game, so maybe this gives San Francisco a chance, and I guess we're gonna find out because the bases are once again loaded as this one's popped up, but that's gonna be more than deep enough for a sacrifice fly. 2 runs off of 8 hits is definitely not ideal for the Giants though, and once again 2 runners are left on base, so if it wasn't for Blake Snell bouncing back from those home runs, the Giants definitely wouldn't be in this one. It is do or die for San Francisco, and they're pinch hitting Patrick Bailey, who just launched a double to start the 8th inning. Chapman's up with a chance to tie this game. He's gonna shoot this one through the infield and do exactly that. That is 3 unanswered runs for the Giants and make it number 4. Estrada just batted in the go-ahead run. Apparently getting Ohtani out of the game was all the Giants needed to start scoring, but now playing from behind, the Dodgers are gonna get 2 aboard. Now it's the Dodgers' turn to deliver with the bases loaded, and this is a grounder, but I think he's gonna be able to beat out the throw. It was huge that he was able to beat that out because they tied the game and now they're taking the lead. So once again, the Giants are gonna be playing from behind in the 9th inning, and Chris Taylor's gonna make this even worse. It's a 2-run game. The Dodgers offense woke up at just the right time, and they're able to survive the Giants. I really thought we were seeing another huge upset in this video, but those early offensive struggles were too much to come back from. So we're moving on to the next team, the Boston Red Sox, and they're gonna claim the state of Vermont. There's still 13 blank states with plenty of time, so maybe my dream of seeing a full imperialism map can happen, especially with the Rangers claiming another state. We still haven't seen any Florida teams yet, and that's gonna continue because now the Cubs could be playing another game, and they're gonna be attacking Cincinnati. This is a big game between 2 division rivals, and the Cubs are getting started with an easy double into right field, and we're seeing the Reds for the first time in this video, and it may be the last. Cody Bellinger, a 3-run shot. What a huge way for Chicago to start this game, but they may not run away with it as Matt McClain launches another double into left field, and that will easily get runners at 2 and 3, but for some reason, Will Benson's testing the throw, and he's not even close. That really sucks because Candelario would have just scored him to make it a 3-2 ball game. So if the Reds lose this game by 1 run, we all know whose fault it is, but now there's runners at the corners for Tyler Stephenson, who just continued the rally. That was an impressive way to rally back for Cincinnati after a 3-run Cody Bellinger nuke, and so far, each pitcher is leaving everything over the plate, and this is going to be another RBI double to extend Chicago's lead. We've already seen more offense through 2 innings than a lot of these games have had total, and Dansby Swanson's gonna add to it with another home run. Once again, the Cubs have a 3-run lead, so the Reds once again need a rally, and this double from Stuart Fairchild is definitely gonna help by scoring another run. The Reds got very far in the last Imperialism video I did, and this single's gonna load the bases, except TJ's going for it, rounding third, heading for home, where thankfully the throw's offline. Suddenly, it's a 1-run game with 2 guys on, and Tyler Stephenson once again is coming through with an RBI to tie it up. It is very impressive that Cincinnati's come back in this one, and it really feels like they've taken all the momentum in this one as Chicago's offense has gone cold, and they are launching another dinger. This is the first Cincinnati lead of the game, and what a play at shortstop from Jonathan India to prevent another run. So much has changed since that Cody Bellinger home run in the first inning, because now Cincinnati has a chance to put this game away, and Tyler Stephenson just turned on this one, driving it deep into left field, and it is another home run. What a turnaround by Cincinnati to stay alive and win this one, as they have taken over the state of Illinois. There are still several teams that haven't played a game, and one of those is the Tampa Bay Rays, who could be playing right now, and unfortunately for them, they're taking on the Atlanta Braves. I'm not going to spoil my last Imperialism video in case you want to watch it, but I'll at least say that the Braves are my pick to win this whole thing. The reason for this is that their offense is electric. Ronald Acuna Jr. just lost his whole bat. It is gone. Like I said though, there's way too much power in this lineup, and Matt Olson's going deep in the second inning, and even if the Rays can contain them, they're going up against one of the best aces in baseball in Spencer Strider. It's still early in this one, but Orlando Arcia is going to make it 3-0 with another dinger. This is a very bad start for Tampa. Why did McClanahan hang a curveball over the plate? Acuna is going to decimate that every single time. I feel bad for the Rays because they've gone through everything from the Wander Franco scandal to starting pitching injuries, and this is not going to help. So I would have been curious to see if the Rays would have had better tournament luck if they didn't play Atlanta, but this is what the map's looking like after that game, as we've nearly eliminated half the teams, and we're going to finally see the New York Yankees play as they're attacking the Boston Red Sox. These two teams faced off in my MLB March Madness video, and it was a great game, so hopefully this one's just as exciting as Alex Verdugo is going to double the other way to put runners at 2 and 3. Boston was able to get out of that one, and Jarren Duran just took all the momentum back with a huge dinger to right center. I cannot believe New York didn't score, and now Boston took the lead in one swing, and now with the runner at third base, Rafael Devers is going to drive him in. Garrett Cole is leaving everything over the plate, including this fastball that's going to get blasted to dead straightaway center to make this 4-0. This was not the start I expected to see from the Cy Young winner, and now the Yankees can't get anything going, so this could be a very quick game for the Red Sox, which is a big surprise because with Aaron Judge and Juan Soto, I would have thought the Yankees would have put up more of a fight. Instead though, things are only getting worse for the Yankees, who just gave up their 5th run of the game, and the Red Sox would shut them out 11-0 and have conquered nearly all of the Northeast. We're not even down to half of the teams, and we've seen some crazy results, and the Pirates have been on the winning side of a few of those, and they're back on the wheel, where they're going to be invading another playoff team in Milwaukee. This will be the Pittsburgh Pirates' 4th game of the entire video, and they're starting strong with an Andrew McCutchen double into left center, and at least up to this point, they have been the biggest story of this entire video, and their legend will only grow stronger if they can beat another playoff team in the Brewers, and they're off to a great start. This Pirates team has scored more 2-out runs than any other team in the tournament so far, but their celebration's gonna die very quick after this opposite field shot. Milwaukee has played 1 game so far, and that was against a fellow playoff team in the Blue Jays, and if you remember, that was a very low scoring game, so their offense needs to get going, and they just made a great catch in right field. That might have robbed the Pirates of another run, which is very good because Milwaukee's offense has started out very cold. No matter which team wins this game, they're gonna have a hard time for the rest of this video if their offenses play this bad, especially because most of the remaining competition are playoff caliber teams, and this is another scoreless inning. We've been waiting to see who's gonna break that tie, but this game is far from over, especially because the Brewers just loaded the bases. There's 2 outs for Christian Yelich, who already has a home run in this game, and he's giving this one a ride to left center field where it won't get down. That is a very frustrating missed opportunity for Milwaukee, but thankfully it's only a 1-run game, and Freddie Peralta stays strong to get them out of this inning. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning, where Milwaukee only has 3 hits up to this point, but Contreras is going to add a 4th with this double, so it's all up to Jake Bauers, who made the great catch in right field earlier, but he's not able to advance Contreras. This has been a very frustrating day for the Brewers, and now the Pirates are trying to put them away. Andrew McCutchen turns on this one into left field. That is going to be gone for a game-clinching 2-run shot as the Pirates' Cinderella story continues after beating another playoff team. They're going to be rewarded with by far the largest territory on the whole map, and it's very hard not to root for a good underdog story as the Pirates have emerged as exactly that. And just imagine how cool it would be if the Pirates faced off against the Atlanta Braves for the championship. That would be the ultimate David and Goliath story, but first they have to beat the Marlins, and so far the Marlins are having no problem getting guys on base. They were unable to score any runs runs, but that's okay because this one's still scoreless in the top of the 3rd inning. So maybe the Braves aren't so invincible, especially because Chisholm just launched a no-doubter to right center field. Jazz is helping Miami put the Braves on upset alert, and even though these are both playoff teams, that would be a massive shocker. Perez has put together a great performance against an elite offense so far, but Miami should get some more runs because it might not last forever, and here's another double play. Another Marlins run would drastically increase their chances of winning, but Spencer Strider's holding strong, so maybe Atlanta can take advantage of Perez's low stamina, but they are not able to. This is one of the most intense 1-0 games I've ever seen, but it looks like Atlanta's finally getting going as they just got their second base hit of the 7th inning. Perez was out of energy after tossing 6 scoreless innings, and Miami's bullpen instantly put them in hot water with loaded bases. However, there are 2 outs for Jared Kelenic, who's going to strike out swinging, and Miami gets out of it. I never expected Atlanta to be involved in a pitching duel, but here we are in the bottom of the 7th. But just like the Braves, they have some runners on base, and Ozzie Albies just made an amazing play to save the inning. Atlanta is down to their last chance in the 9th inning, but Matt Olson on the very first pitch he got sends this one into the right field seats for their first run of the game. He waited a little long to score the first run of this game, but Atlanta is definitely glad to be alive in this one. And the scary thing for Miami is that now they have a chance to put a rally together with 0 outs, and on the very next at-bat, Ozuna lifts this one into center field, but that's actually going to go over the wall for back-to-back home runs in the 9th inning. I did not think he got enough on that one, but it could lead to a heartbreaking ending for Miami. But at least they started the bottom of the 9th with a single as Jazz Chisholm Jr. That one is hit well and has a chance going deep into right field, and it is gone for a walk-off home run. Miami has taken down Atlanta in walk-off fashion, and that is the best game we have seen yet. The juggernaut has been taken down in dramatic fashion, and that is the earliest I've ever seen them get taken down. But now we could finally see the Astros play a game, but we're gonna have to wait because they're expanding their territory. This is also the closest I've ever seen a map to being filled, and for the second time, the wheel lands on the Royals, and they're invading west to take on Cincinnati. There's still quite a few non-playoff teams left in the race, but one of them is guaranteed to be eliminated here. But so far, the Royals are off to a good start, and now they have loaded bases. This is a prime opportunity with just 1 out, but unfortunately, Velasquez hit into a double play. The bases have been left loaded so many times, and Tyler Stephenson just went yard, so now it's even more unfortunate that the Royals stranded all those runners, but thankfully they were able to send 2 home, and there's still only 1 out for Salvi, who's gonna walk. KC has had absolutely no problem getting on base against Hunter Green, and with only 1 out, this sacrifice fly deep into right center field is gonna score the tying run. This has been a great game so far, and the rally is not done for Kansas City. Vinny Pasquantino giving this a drive deep into center field, and that one's gonna go all the way to the wall to score the go-ahead run. That was a 4-run inning for the Royals, but the Reds quickly tied it, and this tie would last all the way into the bottom of the 8th inning where Stephenson drove in the go-ahead run. That was the last run of the game, so Cincinnati is moving on, but definite props to Kansas City for making it this far. Out of 13 teams left, 7 of them made the playoffs, and this is the first time the wheel has landed on Minnesota, and they're expanding their territory south. Only 11 states are unoccupied on the map, as the wheel landed on the Dodgers, and this is very unfortunate. The Oakland A's have quietly held their territory in Northern California, but unfortunately, they have to attack the LA Dodgers, and as you can imagine, that didn't work out very well for them. We all knew that Oakland had no shot to win that game, and we are down to just 12 teams left in baseball, and this is the first time the wheel has chosen the Orioles, but they lucked out and are expanding their territory. The next team up is going to be Texas, and it's very unfair that they have not played a single game yet, but that's all going to change because we're finally getting the battle for the state of Texas. I'm definitely surprised these 2 teams are facing off so late in the video, but Nathaniel Lowe's going to go yard to open it up. These are the 2 best teams in the American League, so this one could really go either way, and Corey Seager just scored another run on a sac fly. Things are not looking good for the Astros so far, but Kyle Tucker in one swing just tied the game, but it's gonna go foul at the last second. That is such a tough break for Houston because they stranded 2 runners, so it looks like Texas is gonna keep pulling ahead in this one, especially after a deep bomb from Corey Seager to right center field. That was a complete game shutout for Jacob deGrom, and the Rangers' territory just doubled in size. I am 13 hours into this recording session, and these games are only getting more exciting as the Marlins are taking over South Carolina, and I still can't believe we haven't seen games from several teams on the list, as we might be getting another game from the Reds, and they're attacking Pittsburgh's territory. These 2 teams have played more games than anyone, but now one of them is getting eliminated, so it's a shame it has to come down to this, as Cincinnati's already getting started with a double the other way from Will Benson. That's going to put runners at 2 and 3, except for some reason the CPU's sending the runner home, and that is a terrible decision. As we've seen throughout this video, those base running decisions can make all the difference, as this was only 1 RBI instead of 2, but thankfully for Cincinnati, it doesn't look like it's hurting them too much early on, as they just scored another run. Both of these offenses are the reason these teams have survived this long in the video, and the Reds are not taking their foot off the gas. Cincinnati's offense just put a ton of pressure on the Pirates, but O'Neal Cruz is going to deliver with a deep drive the other way into left field, and that one is going to be gone to cut this to a one-score game. The power in Pittsburgh's lineup has allowed them to survive this long, but they may have met their match in Cincinnati as Fraley's going to drive in another run. This could be a very sad ending for the Pittsburgh Pirates, but they're not done yet because Rowdy Tellez is going to elevate this one into center field, and that is gone for a 2-run shot. We have a great game on our hands because each side added another run right after that, and there's 2 outs with a runner in scoring position where they just need Sawinski to deliver, but he pops it up. However, the Pirates bullpen's going to stay strong, so they only need 1 run to tie it in the bottom of the 9th. It's going to be very difficult to score a run because there's already 1 out, but Big Rowdy might have just delivered, launching this one to right field all the way back where it's carrying, and it's going to be caught at the last second. That one came down to the wire, but Cincinnati is moving on to the next round, and in the process, they've also taken over the most territory. We are down to our final 10 teams of the video, but it looks like we're going to see the Reds again because Minnesota's invading their massive territory. Unfortunately for the Reds, the Twins have had plenty of time to rest, so they were able to come out swinging early on in this one with 5 runs, and I wish there was more to say about this one, but Cincinnati got shut out, and after their first game, Minnesota has lucked into the largest territory on the map. I was really hoping that Cincinnati and Pittsburgh could both get far, but of course, this is the reality of the late game in Imperialism, but at least this game between the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers should be a little more interesting. This should be a very interesting race for the National League in real life, because the Braves, Dodgers, and D-backs are all very good, but at least in this video, the Braves elimination is going to shake things up quite a bit as Freddie Freeman's going yard to start this game off. A good team is getting eliminated no matter who wins this game, and unfortunately for Arizona, things are not looking good, as they desperately need a rally if they want to stay in this game, and at least this one's going to drop for an RBI. There's still a long way to go, but at least that's a start, and Alek Thomas is going to give this one a ride deep into left field, and that's going to be able to get down and score 2 runs. I was ready to count out Arizona, but this one just got a whole lot more interesting, but unfortunately this one's popped up, so the D-backs are going to need some help from their bullpen, and this is not a good start, as they have to deal with the top of this loaded lineup, and Max Muncy just called game with a 2-run shot. Arizona hung in there as long as they could, but the Dodgers are just unstoppable. The Dodgers and the Marlins are officially the only National League playoff teams left, and I definitely didn't have that on my bingo card, but finally the arrow is landing on the Nationals, and no matter who they play, it's not going to be good for them. To my surprise though, they're actually beating Baltimore. 72 overall Mackenzie Gore is absolutely shutting this lineup down, and I know anything can happen in baseball, but this is ridiculous. There's 2 RBIs plus 2 more. The Washington Nationals have pulled up the massive upset of this video. That is one of the weirdest things that has ever happened on this YouTube channel, so because of that, there's going to be 3 playoff teams in the top 7, as the Dodgers are on the board once again, and they're going to be attacking Seattle. This is the Mariners' first game of the video, but with the way the Dodgers have played, this could easily be their last, and there's a full count for Ohtani, who's going to strike out, but as we saw in the last game, absolutely anything can happen, and Seattle has 2 aboard. It is so important for them to score a run here, but that was a nasty pitch from Ohtani. It was only a matter of time before they scored, so the Mariners really need to get something going before it's too late, and at least they were able to get a runner on first base, but with 2 outs, they're going to be unable to score him. That Dodgers home run has made all the difference in this one, as it's still 1-0, and LA's looking to extend their lead with Ohtani on second, but Castillo's pitched a really good game. It may all go to waste though, because Seattle's offense has not done anything, but at least Julio Rodriguez gets on, and now Jorge Polanco is going deep to left center field to give the Mariners a 2-1 lead. If Seattle wins this game, I know people are going to accuse me of rigging it, and I guess all I can say about that is watch literally any of my other challenge videos and just see how well the Mariners do. If the Dodgers get eliminated, then the Marlins and the Nationals will be the final National League teams left in the tournament, and here in the bottom of the 7th, there's no outs, and Josh Rojas just got the Mariners' second hit. Another run would do wonders for the Mariners, and here it is, Julio Rodriguez through the infield. That's going to score Mitch Haniger and make it 3-1. This is not how I pictured this game going in a million years, as the Dodgers are down to their final outs, and honestly, Seattle's bullpen made all the difference in this one, as they have eliminated the Dodgers in a shocker. With that elimination, the Seattle Mariners have taken over the West, and there are still 3 non-playoff teams left, but that could all change as the Red Sox are up, and they're invading the biggest territory on the map. I cannot believe that half the teams that are left didn't make the playoffs, but the Twins are rallying quickly, so Boston could fall into an early hole with 2 runners in scoring position, and Max Kepler unloads this one into right field, sending this all the way back to the wall where it's not going to be caught, and that's going to score 2 runs. Minnesota absolutely dismantled Cincinnati, and this looks like the same story, as the Red Sox were completely overwhelmed by this offense, and the biggest territory on the map just got bigger. 5 teams are left in MLB The Show 24 Imperialism, and the biggest shock to me is that Washington is still here, and they just lucked out again, expanding their land. I don't want to discredit them, but luck is the only reason they're still here, and it seems like the wheel is finally done saving them, as they're invading Minnesota and already put up a home run. Apparently the Nationals can't be stopped, as I assumed this was going to be another easy Minnesota win, but with the bases loaded, they came up empty. empty. Minnesota finally woke up with a solo home run, and it looks like the Nationals' dream might be dead after a grand slam, so at least they gave it their best shot, and that is an 11-run 5th inning. So Minnesota's on an absolute conquest, and Washington was finally taken care of. We are down to the final 4 teams in this battle royale, and I'm interested in seeing Miami play another game after beating Atlanta, but they have another tall task against the Texas Rangers, and clearly Jazz Chisholm is not scared. That was the very first pitch of the game, and they're clearly not letting off the gas with a Brian De La Cruz double, so this is not a good start for Jacob deGrom, and while he gave up hard contact to Josh Bell here, at least it's not going to leave the yard and will end the inning. It is definitely not fair that Miami's gone through the gauntlet with Atlanta and now Texas, as Adolis Garcia's 2-run shot just gave them the lead. So far, the Marlins have not refound the magic that helped them beat Atlanta, and the Rangers held on to advance to the final 3. This could all come down to who the wheel lands on, and it's the Seattle Mariners who would rather not play Texas, so instead they're going north to take on Minnesota. Even though the Twins made the playoffs last year, Seattle won more regular season games, and this one should be interesting, especially because Julio's starting out with a nuke. However, Seattle needs more runs than that because Minnesota's offense has been on a tear, but Lopez just got a strikeout and he picked off his former teammate Jorge Polanco. Leave it to the Mariners to shoot themselves in the foot, and Castillo just gave up a blast on his first batter. I feel like Minnesota's more fit than Seattle to beat Texas in the final round, as Julio Rodriguez watches this no-doubter drift outside the foul pole. That was almost a game-changing 2-run shot, but unfortunately for Seattle, Minnesota's is actually gonna stay fair. However, Crawford just responded with another bomb, so this one's tied up in the 7th and has been one of the closest games of the entire video, and it definitely feels like the next team to score a run is gonna win this game. It's all up to Julio with 2 outs to score a runner from second base, and he's gonna do exactly that to give the Mariners the 4-3 lead. That is the second time that Julio has come up big in this game, and now the Mariners are just a few innings away from the Imperialism finals. It's still a 4-3 game, but not for long. Ty France to straightaway center. That is a no-doubter to give the Mariners a 2-run lead, and I can't believe my favorite team is going to the final round. The entire video comes down to this game, and I am very nervous for Seattle in this game, especially because it's starting like that. They had to beat the Dodgers and the Twins to get to the finals, but this is a very good Texas team, and they're already faced with runners at the corners, but they thankfully get out of it. Also, Texas won the March Madness video, so they could become the first back-to-back champs in the history of this channel. There's a lot at stake here as Texas has loaded the bases with a single, except the runner's gonna test the throw, and obviously that's gonna be a very bad idea. He's out by a mile. Once again, I promise I did not rig this video for the Mariners to get into the finals, and I don't even know how I would do that without you knowing, but so far each side is getting some runners aboard. But as we've seen all video long, the issue has been scoring the runners that are in position, as Mitch Haniger's going the other way for a 3-run shot. A non-playoff team has their division rival who won the World Series on upset alert in the finals, and honestly this would be the most satisfying ending after a 15-hour recording session and a whole lifetime of seeing the Mariners only make the playoffs one time. However, as we figured out, this Texas offense is very dangerous, so Seattle cannot afford to let them get hot as there are runners at the corners. Just one swing can tie this game, and Castillo loaded the bases, so Adolis Garcia has the chance to get Texas back in this game, but this one stays fair and it's not going to happen. That is crushing for Texas as Seattle hit another home run, so this one is going terribly for them, and I honestly expected the Rangers to put up more of a fight, but here are some runs late in this one, so at least that rally is going to give them some momentum going into the 9th inning. Corey Seager is exactly who Texas wants in this spot because he just obliterated this fastball into right center field to make it a 1-run game. That one was completely crushed, but then Garcia struck out, so the Rangers are down to their final out where Marcus Semion's going to ground over to JP Crawford, who throws to France, and the Mariners have won MLB Imperialism on my channel. A non-playoff team knocked off their division rival who won a World Series, and like I said, I don't know how to say it, I did not rig this, it just happened. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed because it took a lot of work, and remember to click right here to see more of my content, and I will see you next time.